Welcome to the CIP meeting of September 23rd. This meeting is being broadcasted live and recorded by Foxboro Cable Access. Who would like to start us off?
Well, looks like we have to do review and approve the minutes from June 24th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from June 24th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we go to, then we go to the fire department for their requests. So we have two gentlemen here.
Good afternoon.
No.
Why?
Don't forget to introduce yourselves.
Tom Kinnaman, Assistant Chief with the Fire Department.
Owen Bonner, Maintenance Superintendent.
Okay. That's up to Owen to kind of start us off.
This year, special town meeting, we are seeking to replace our 2011 Engine 23 brush apparatus. I believe we've put forward in the amount of $680,000.
Okay. What's the status of the one that we're looking to replace?
It's a 2011. It has served us well. It's coming up on the 15-year mark. I'd say most of our reasoning and status for replacement is the current use of the vehicle. Our needs have outgrown the vehicle's capabilities. The way it was spec'd, it was spec'd with a very small pump, was spec'd with a lot of things that aren't meeting our needs in the current atmosphere today. The Assistant Chief could probably speak to those items a little bit better. On the maintenance side, upkeep is getting more and more expensive. The engine that is in the vehicle itself is no longer manufactured. Parts shortages are becoming more and more from international with it. They're not wanting to support it. That's giving me a harder and harder time in getting what I need, which is increasing downtime on it, especially during brush season. Operationally.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, because last year we learned that over the 3 days that we had the extensive brush fires at Gilbert Hills, we used this engine to supply, looking at almost 48 hours of continuous use at a time, supplying multiple engines, multiple brush trucks. We had a difficult time meeting the gallonage, the pump pressures. I think it's important to note that when it comes to looking at a piece of apparatus like this, it's not solely just the mileage on the apparatus, it's the hours of operation, the pump operations, and that's kind of what we're looking at now, measuring those hours. The nice thing is, if we're able to replace this piece of equipment, we can use this towards our ISO rating as well as accreditation status as a reserve Class A pump. So we can actually use that as part of our fleet for structural use too, as well, for water supply, which is something that would be very advantageous to us. Looking at the replacement parts, I would defer to Owen as Motor Squad in terms of getting those pieces, but I think it's becoming harder and harder. The chassis is 3 years older than the actual piece of equipment itself. 2008 chassis, the truck itself is 2011. And again, it's becoming more cumbersome to try to repair this piece of equipment, and we're relying on it much more as we start to, whatever your stance is on global warming, we understand that we're experiencing greater periods of drought, and this is our main piece of equipment for supplying our brush and forestry units.
How does this, do we augment the forestry department, or are we responsible for some areas and they're responsible for some areas?
It's a great question, because, for instance, the last event that we had last year, last fall, the DCR folks this is in Foxborough, so they call us. So we manage pretty much the entire thing. They're there for more of the small. They have assets, but their assets are quickly stripped in the first, a few minutes of an event. The event last year was epic in scale. It was 15 acres that were burning, and when I first arrived at 2 a.m, it was kindling and just a line of fire across the woods. Their brush trucks, their apparatus, they don't have the numbers because they're stretched so thin across the state. They just can't.
It's interesting. It's almost the exact opposite of how it usually works with police. is, you have something happen and you move up to the state, the state on the fire side tends to defer to the towns and offer themselves as a resource.
And
But
they're
they don't take over.
very limited resources
Yeah.
there, because they were stretched so thin last year as well. They were covering the entire state with Blue Hills and Middleton, so they were really spread very thin. So it's
I
coming.
just had a question about the amount, because you mentioned 680, but on this, it's 160. So is there,
I was looking for-
So we were going to be proceeding with the same lease plan we've been doing
Okay.
with the other apparatus. So I think 160 was the yearly free cash placeholder on the lease payment at that amount.
so total is 680, but the next,
Be over 5 years, I believe.
5 years, that's what I was going to ask. You stated what the weaknesses were, pump age, et cetera, et cetera. Could you explain what would this vehicle do that you can't do today?
So I think it's actually, so what we were actually speccing is called a WUI apparatus. It's a wildland urban interface. And it does two jobs very well. So the truck that was specced is about the same, the truck we have now is about the same size as the one that we're speccing. But in terms of capability, has much less in that it doesn't have a feature that's really valuable on brush fires called pump and roll, where when you are in pump, you can actually still drive the vehicle. This one works like a traditional fire apparatus. When it goes into pump, it sits right where it is. Once you've done that, you're dead where you are. You can't move. So this new vehicle would be able to pump and roll in the woods, would have a front turret so that people could actually be operating water from inside the cab, which we do not have now. The biggest thing, as the chief mentioned, this would really serve to shore up our ISO rating and help us keep the class 1 that we've attained, because the current truck is a 500 gallon per minute truck. The new one is spec'd at 1,500 gallons per minute, which is its own score on the ISO rating under amount of water you can flow. So that would actually gain us almost a whole nother point on our next evaluation. And then to that same point, with that much more water, there are, on the other side of this, not even counting brush fires, on the structural side, you have requirements that a fire truck has to meet to be a Class A pumper. And it has to be over 750 gallons a minute, it has to have ladders, it has to have air packs in every seat, among all the other things. This truck would meet all those, so it would actually qualify as a full-on structural apparatus as well, that if we had something major going on, it would actually be of use at a building fire, which the current truck is not. So it would kind of meet multiple needs and increase our brush capabilities at the same time.
And for the uneducated, the upper ISO rating
So-
gives us what?
Yeah, so that's the insurance services office. They assign a rating to every fire department from 1 to 10.
Okay.
1 being the best, 10 being needing the most work. It's a very big deal in the fire service to be an ISO Class 1 department. You've attained the highest rating, and there's multiple elements, and it basically, at the end of the day, says a general idea of your ability to put water on fire, your general fire protection ability. And it also affects the property insurance rates of everybody in town, whatever the ISO rate is of the fire department.
Okay.
So
Thank
it's
you.
something that Chief Kelleher set out to achieve and was able to get done, and keeping it is a real point of pride for us and a way that we can give back to the community quantifiably.
Great,
and
thanks.
with the ladder trucks nowadays cost, what, $1 million?
2.5.
Yeah, so this kind of, 680 is a lot, but it also sounds like a bargain if you can
There's people
actually-
paying $680 for ambulances right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for ambulances.
So it
It's
does.
out of control, to be
Yeah.
honest.
supplement.
The only other question I have is, most of the vehicles we've been buying through the fire department have been bought through ambulance receipt. So this one now is going a different direction. I don't think we've had one recently that's gone through free cash, have we?
Not recently, no.
And is that just because of fund balance? I know we've got a big commitment on the large truck that's on
It's,
order.
free cash was the funding source that was requested. Doesn't necessarily have to be the funding source. But with the ambulance fund as well, you have to, one, make sure that there's enough in there to cover what we use for the operating budget, plus the ongoing capital that we have coming out of that fund. So I could certainly take a look again to see if this is something that could come out of there, but the request was from free cash.
Yeah, I'm curious about that and whether or not even a combination of the two. But again, I don't know what the balance in that account is, and I don't know what the committed values are at this point, so we'd have to see that to make it. I mean, I'm in favor of the truck, I just would like to have a better understanding of the funding.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, boy, this guy.
Do we know him?
Chris, go ahead.
All right, so DPW Public Works, we have 3 items. The first item we have on the list is the Oak Street PFAS water treatment plant. If everyone recalls, at the annual town meeting in May, we voted to accept the state revolving fund loan to build our second PFAS water treatment plant. The plant will be located down on Lamson Road off of Oak Street. We're currently under construction for the first plant. We're due to be online with that late winter, early spring, so March, April timeframe. The construction of the second plant would probably start right around the same time. So we're currently in design, permitting, both state and local level. We have a deadline to get all our permits in October 3rd. With the state, with SRF, so we're on track to submit all of those documents at that point in time. We would then finalize some of the internal design for the plant prior to the end of the calendar year and go out to bid early January. This, because of the cost of this plant, is we require filed subbids, which adds 3 to 4 weeks to the project. Sorry, Brandon. So our bidding process is likely to be 6, if not 8 weeks, from the time we open the filed subbids to opening the final GC bids. So we're walking this through the CIP process. We're estimating the total construction cost is $16.5 million. We would not start repaying the SRF loan until the project is complete. So we're looking at FY '28 to begin repayments on this second loan. It's a no-interest loan. With the first SRF loan, we did see we're seeing some principal forgiveness. So the first loan is up to $14 million. We're expecting about $1 million of that to be debt forgiveness or principal forgiveness, and we would expect similar dollars, 10% or so on this loan as well. So we are seeking approval of up to $16.5 million through an SRF loan for our Oak Street PFAS water treatment plant.
So the question I have, and I'm just foggy on this one, we approved it. So what are we actually doing here? Just funding it? I mean, I thought we approved
It's
it.
because, Marie can explain.
So our bond council has essentially issued a green light letter for us to be able to borrow this money, and what they said is that this project didn't go in front of the CIP committee before it went to town meeting, and it is a requirement based on our bylaw, so that's why they refused to provide that letter until we do this piece.
Okay.
So we voted everything.
So we're not going back to town meeting?
Thought this was a whole
for any
new
other-
one.
Okay,
Thank you for
No,
that.
this is a formality.
okay. I'm still in favor of it. All right, thank you, that clears that up.
Any other questions on PFAS?
Town meeting vote too.
So this, again, this is just the formality of our side, but so everything else stays in place the way it was, no change in pricing
Correct.
or anything else like that?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? All in
No,
favor?
No, that answered the questions I had.
All in favor?
No,
Aye.
we'll vote at the end? Do we vote everything at the end?
It's up to us, I
Well,
guess.
I guess so, yeah.
Take the favor. Right?
Yeah,
Okay,
Motion to approve the PFAS request for up to 16.5 million as a formality based on prior time meeting vote.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
aye. All right. Next up, community center sewer upgrades. Anybody who drove on Main Street this summer noticed that we installed a sewer main from the common up to the new community center at 76 Main Street. That sewer main is a low-pressure force main. The community center is connected to it, so they are on sewer. That project is complete at this point. We did have a couple change orders that were required to complete that project. We were able to add services or stubs to each of the side streets that we crossed. That makes that sewer system expandable in the future by doing that. There were also some items that were missed in the bid documents that were required in order to make that final connection to the building and get them online. So the sewer department, sewer enterprise fund is looking to supplement the general fund budget on that project up, $275,000. Just supplement that project from the sewer retained earnings.
And Marie, can you remind us what we have in sewer retained earnings right now?
I'll be submitting the balance sheet next week to the state, but right now, retained earnings for sewer is projected at 1.79 million. So there's enough in there to cover this.
One would think.
So this is the cost of the extension, it was a part of the cost of the extension?
This is about 50% of the,
I thought in the last town meeting, we voted additional funds to go up the street. I'm trying to get what this is compared,
yeah,
separate
so,
from that.
yeah, so this change from what we bid, there was a portion of the connection, the service itself to the building was missed in the bid document, so that was left out of the bid documents. And then the side street connections, the stubs, so that at each side street, there's a manhole cover. In that manhole, there's a connection, a T.
Okay.
It's all fused piping. So in order to make those connections possible in the future, we had to do this now.
Okay.
So it made sense to add that cost in at this point in
That seems to make
time.
sense to me, but in your view, Chris, now, are we done here? Is this?
This project's
I mean,
complete.
unless you want to take it down the street or something else?
Yep.
It seems like this is the third kind of whack at cash here.
Yeah, I think this is, like I said, supplementing some of the general fund, in that project. Like I said, the change orders that came in from that original 344. This is, taking the burden off of the general fund side. The sewer enterprise will see this money come back to it with those future connections that are planned.
Okay.
Motion?
Motion to approve the community center upgrades from the sewer retained earnings in an amount of $275,000.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and then I've got one more. This was kind of a last-minute item for the DPW. I like to do a better job of planning our fleet replacement. This is a 2004 Bobcat that's utilized mostly by Tree and Park for field maintenance. And the engine blew up on us about a month ago. So they took it out to do a lot of the fall field maintenance. And at 21 years old, while the machine itself is in relatively good condition, the engine blew up, and the cost to replace that engine is anywhere from 10 to 15,000, and then we would still be left with a machine that is 21 years old. So we were able to get a quote together for a new machine. It is a CAT 239D compact track loader. This machine will actually have tracks on it versus rubber tires, so it's actually better suited for being on the turf and the dirt infields. So we're looking for $60,000 to replace the 21-year-old Bobcat that has a blown-up engine.
How much did you say to replace it? 10 to 15?
Yeah, the engine would be about 10 to 15,000.
Do you get anything for that?
We can.
I know it's old,
We
but-
can auction it or trade it. Whatever we do would just come back to the general fund, similar to all the other equipment that we're getting rid of.
Yeah.
So we we recently auctioned off a backhoe, which is a much larger piece of equipment, but we did bring in about $20,000 on that piece of a machine. Also close to 25 years old, but there are contractors out there that'll buy it and run it into the ground. So,
Motion to approve the new Bobcat, what's the agenda?
Compact track loader.
Compact track loader for $60,000.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Karen?
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here on behalf of the school district to request the purchase of 2 minibuses. The total estimated replacement cost for the minibuses is about $275,000. That also includes the installation of the cameras and the radios for the buses. So right now, the district maintains and operates its fleet of buses to transport students to and from school. And the vehicles are typically replaced at about 100,000 miles or 10 years of operation, unless there's significant deterioration, as noted by the town maintenance staff. So we have started monthly meetings with the transportation and DPW and the mechanic. And at a recent meeting, it was suggested that there is 2 minibuses that do have high mileage, and one of them indicated that may not even pass inspection. So there is 2 that they're recommending should be replaced. The district currently operates 6 minibuses. 5 of them are on the road and 1 is a spare. And this year, for example, if there's one that's off the road, we only have 5, and we don't have a spare at all. And they're definitely really active buses. The minibuses are the only buses equipped with the 5-point harnesses, which is for the preschools, which is required by law. So we cannot use the larger buses to transport the preschoolers. The lead time to get the delivery of these minibuses can be as high as 4 to 6 months. And you have to secure your funding before you can get a purchase order out there and get on that list. So if we waited till the Springtown meeting, I think it would be difficult for us to get delivery. It's not for the 26 year, 25-26 year, and probably a little bit into the 26-27 year. The mileage on the buses are increasing, as well as the student counts. The student counts, I looked into the last 5 years, and in the last 5 years, it has gone from 64 students to 103. And I've been told that the 103 is low because the preschool numbers are increasing. With only the 1 spare bus, we really feel it's imperative to try to get in for this fall town meeting to replace these buses. I did get some estimates, and also with the estimates, I just got another one in today for 2027, and the prices are increasing drastically from 24, 26, 27. So if we can get in on the 20, there is one left over 24, that if I can get that one, could save the town a little money. If I can get the 26s, but once I get to the 27s, then they're really getting high. I got an estimate today for a 35-passenger minibus at $155,200. And the 2026 for a 29-passenger is about $114,000, $115,000. So we really are hoping that we can get the funding secured for the fall town meeting, so that we can get these 2 minibuses on the road as soon as possible. For the 2 ones that are ones that we're going to be replacing, one of them has just about 100,000 miles, and the other one has approximately 80,000, but I've been told that with the wear and tear on this particular truck, the mechanic is recommending that we replace both of them. So that would be our request, and if anybody has any questions.
You said preschool, but where are you driving the preschoolers to? Where do they?
The minibuses are used not only for the preschool, they're used for special ed, preschool, and a little bit of charter school, but the preschoolers the special ed students do get a ride for the preschool. The borough. To the borough.
On the high school level, obviously, when they do outside trainings and stuff like that, that's the smaller buses that will take those kids to those as well. But So really, you're running 6 buses, you only have 6 in total.
6 in total with 5 on the road, that we need the 5.
Right, but one that's potentially not going to be able to be on the road, so.
Because this year it's been that way. We've had one that's been out of commission, so we've only had the 5. And Lynn and Linda, you can see the tenseness when they don't have a spare bus. So it is kind of difficult. The reason I mentioned the preschool is because we cannot transport them with the larger buses.
I will say this is, we did this a couple of years ago when I was there, when there was a older vintage available that was still brand new. And we got a better price by going for it. And to be honest with you, unless Chris says differently, it's the same vehicle, it's just, it doesn't have a 2026 or 2027, number on it. So we don't really care about that because we're looking for, 10 years of use or 100,000 miles. So comes in with 0 miles, it's still new to us.
The out-of-bus commission is one of these two, or it's a separate bus?
It's a separate bus.
It's a separate bus.
These are is that this one that was on? These two, it's not one of these two, that is, I forget if it was one of these two that's out of commission right now.
M1 is,
It's the M1?
I believe it got picked up today.
Okay.
But those 2 buses, it does seem like the minibuses are bearing the brunt of the operation over the last couple of years. We're definitely not going to get 10 years out of these buses. The M4, minibus 4, is a 2018 with 97,000 miles on it. And M1 is a 2020 with 78,000 miles on it. So I think some of the consideration on a larger capital discussion, needs to be that these buses, the minibuses, need to be replaced a little more frequently than every 10 years. The larger buses seems like we're getting by with that same schedule, but anytime we're not replacing 3 buses every year, we're going to fall behind like this. And we have another one, M3, it's a 2022, it's got 83,000 miles on it. So in 3 years, it's added up very quickly. Part of the operation is they do get used year-round as well. So while the large buses, for the most part, will do a field trip for recreation or something else throughout the summer, all of these minibuses, all 6 of them are operational throughout the entire summer.
And they are doing the whole town. They are back and forth everywhere multiple times during the school day, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did look at the mileage over the last few years as well, and the mileage is increasing. So you can tell they're getting more use because the mileage is increasing each year.
Any other questions? Motion?
Motion to approve, this is my paper, the 2 minibuses,
For
275.
$275,000 out of free cash.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Marie, can you just give us a,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go into the last one on free cash, probably should have done this up front, kind of a recap of where we stand with free cash. It's good to kind of have out to the public, I guess.
So what we have, so right now we're, because we are in the new fiscal year, your free cash essentially will reset. So from what I am submitting to the state next week, assuming that we don't have any deficits, free cash is looking at, it's going to be around 9.4 million for fiscal year 26. And what's been requested today, including the next item on the list, you're talking about 537,500. So there's more than enough in free cash. And I was just looking at the for the brush truck, because the thing with the ambulance fund is you could only use it for expenses directly related to ambulances and emergency response. A brush truck is really not. It's not like that's to put out fires, mostly in. It sounds like in the forest. So it would be kind of hard to justify that coming out of the ambulance fund. You could possibly do if you assume that they will also use it, like they explain that they can for regular, responding to a building fire. Then you could probably look at maybe splitting the cost. And And I was looking at the ambulance fund overall, does have enough, like if you wanted to split the cost, there's enough in there to cover that for the 5 years.
Would that cause a trickle-down effect for next year, for whatever they're trying, whatever comes at next town
No,
meeting?
it's taking into account what we have built in via the forecast for the operating and taking into account the next 4 years of CIP that was submitted. So unless something comes up as an emergency, I mean, they have enough, about 600,000 surplus.
So are we locked into free cash for future years of the 5-year payment if we do this, or can we switch it like for each year if we need
No,
to?
you can switch it.
Okay,
yeah.
so I don't have much of a problem then.
Maybe do this year as
Yeah.
free cash, and
Yeah.
then
You've got flexibility.
evaluate it every year.
Right.
Yeah, we can do
should
that.
anyways.
That 9.7 number seems higher than I remember. Maybe my memory is just gone, which is, I think,
9.4.
happening. But is it much higher than what we were talking about in the spring when we were going
We
through
were
budgeting?
at, so last year was 8.3 million.
Yeah, I get that, but I thought
you
when
have-
we went through the whole discussion about we were at 8.3 and we're gonna spend this much, I thought we were throwing around numbers that were under 5 million. I thought, we thought that, no? What? No?
We
Okay.
leave, the financial policy state that we'll leave 2 million at the end of each fiscal year, just
Yeah,
as
I
like
remember
the
that
recharge.
discussion, yeah, but I thought the balance, okay, all right.
Yeah, maybe you're thinking about the average, like if you look at like the 10-year average, we were around
Yeah,
4 to
I
5
don't
million.
know exactly, okay.
But we're at 9.4. I mean, there's various factors there. Obviously, you have revenue surpluses. We're still seeing, investment income coming in a lot higher. Personal and real estate property collections are doing pretty well. If you didn't do that, those balances that you have in those receivables get deducted from your free cash. Departments did turn back money, so I mean, there's a lot that goes into that free cash number.
I think that's what I was getting at when I was talking
Yeah.
about that. Okay, that's fine.
Thank you very much. Land use? The next. Yep.
Hello, I'm Catherine Fierick, Director of Land Use and Economic Development. I'm joined by Craig Willey, our conservation agent. We are requesting a conservation vehicle. This is a new item for our department. We've had a lot of turnover with conservation agents recently, and the previous long-tenured agent preferred using her own vehicle. However, a lot of the conservation activities include land stewardship, and it can really help if you have a vehicle that can haul heavy equipment or bags of garbage out of an area or other items as required. So it's a new item for us, but it is one that is pretty standard in most municipalities, and it would greatly help with the stewardship of conservation land.
What is the vehicle that you're actually looking for?
That is a Chevy
Chevy
Colorado.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's similar to the truck we purchased for the building commissioner office that's in the parking lot out here. So it is a crew cab. Does have a 5.5-foot bed. There's the request includes additional funding so we can put a cover on it and kind of outfit it as Craig may see fit. In talking to Craig, seems like an SUV would not be. We were looking at passing down an SUV to him that the Board of Health is taking off of their department, but some of the things Craig's looking to do in town, an SUV is just not going to fit his needs.
And not only that, that SUV is failing in front of our eyes, and that's why they're
it's a
replacing it.
2012.
It's, I think now there's a new vinegar and
Traded
ammonia
it.
smell coming out of it, so it's been an adventure with that.
Does this have any type of a lift kit or anything like that so that he can go into areas? Colorados aren't, I mean, I have a similar truck. It
Yeah.
Is it a
have
four-wheel
lot of
drive?
clearance.
No, it's a 4x4. It's actually it's got better ground clearance than my vehicle does.
Not that I'm an expert or anything, but I did watch a little video on it after that was discussed as the model, and they emphasized the off-road capabilities, so I was like, okay, that's good.
Okay.
Chris, my only question was, this is all ad hoc, but I sat down at dinner next to a guy who I don't know, but I know he works for a Chevy dealership. Mm-hmm. He said they have a huge recall on transmissions and that a lot of them are just falling apart. Have you heard anything about
I've
this?
not heard that yet, no.
He said they've done a recall, they're running it like 3 years at a clip. It was, I know one of the engines was particularly problematic on the big ones, like Tahoes and
Okay.
Suburbans and stuff like that, but he said if it gets by, this was his quote, I'll leave you with this. If it gets by 10,000, you have a decent chance.
Okay.
And they're like, what? Like 10,000 miles is like the break? Chinese steel is eroding, giving way, I guess. I don't know anything about it, I'll be honest, but
Yep.
I'm just sharing, this guy works for New Car Chevy.
Okay.
And it sounds like he's in the repair, because he was talking about very specific stuff with valves and joints, and you know,
Okay.
I didn't know what he was talking about, frankly.
Can we just have Adam
I was
do
listening.
Yeah, we can look
have
at it.
Adam do a
Yeah.
search before we actually?
Yep.
I mean, they actually came forward with a different vehicle, and we all went, no, wait, you better go with what, so DPW is definitely doing Chevys.
Yeah,
That's
we've
the-
been,
Maybe a different model, it might not be an
Sure.
issue. I'm not
Well,
trying to tell
the
you
bigger
I have
vehicles have a
experts.
different engine and
I
a
just
different
have some
transmission, so.
dirt I'm just sharing with you,
Sure.
if you want to look into it.
I mean, Adam, this is something Adam prefer, like, he supports this, correct?
yeah,
And he's the one-
you know, we're trying to, you know, build a fleet of similar vehicles, makes and models, so, when they brought up the idea of a pickup, that was the first thing I
I
went
remember
to
you
was,
saying you were a little questionable on the Fords too, so I'm not trying to sell you on a different one, I'm just trying to share.
Who do you work for?
I don't.
Then you're
I
clear.
have no skin in the game.
Okay. I think it just, if we just confirm
yeah,
that there isn't, you know, a major issue on that line, then I think we'd feel a little bit more comfortable. So,
yeah, we can look at that. I mean, and it, you know, generally, as we, you know, approve capital funding, it's, you know, changes can be made along the way, as long as we fit within the budget.
and it's a similar vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
A motion to approve the
New purchase.
purchase of a Chevy Colorado, or it's 4x4 with, as specified, or comparable based on the input received by the mechanic, an amount of, let's see, what we have, $42,500 from free cash.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think we voted the fire.
No, we didn't
We
yet.
did not, yeah.
We had to get the information on the ambulance.
Yeah, so, yeah, oh, that's right.
Made them sweat.
Yeah. Want to do a motion?
Yes, so a motion to approve the fire truck's brush truck replacement for $160,000 out of free cash for this, for a lease payment for this year, subject to reevaluation each year.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Any
Motion
other?
to adjourn?
Yeah.
second.
Wasn't anything else?
I'm sorry.
Okay, motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.